Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Haidia Williams, or as a composer I go by Mudiwa Williams. Today I wanted to talk about a topic that I find very interesting, and I'd kind of like to open up a dialogue about it. If you guys want to express your own opinions in the comments below, or send me an email or anything like that, just kind of getting this dialogue started about why there is such a lack of minorities in the world of classical music. And today I just kind of wanted to address some of the reasons why I think there is so little minorities in classical music in the US and in general, and some things that we can probably do to improve that. So I'll be adding some anecdotes of my own of some of the struggles I've had to face as a minority who is entering the world of classical music, as well as some other things that I just think also contribute to this very low statistic. Out of all of the orchestras in the United States, 1.8% of the participants are black and 2.5% of the participants are Hispanic. The rest is mainly dominated by white people, and that isn't an issue. I'm not here to point fingers and call classical music racist because it's dominated by white people. We look at the history of classical music in the world, in the way in which it developed. White people had a big part in it, had the majority of the part in it in terms of the classical music we listen to today. But other composers, such as William Still Grant, who is an African American composer, did contribute to what we know today as music in general. So why is there such a low statistic on blacks and Hispanics in orchestras, or in the world of classical music at all, as composers, as performers? Today I kind of wanted to address some of the hurdles that minorities have to go through in order to gain the same respect and the same experience as white performers, white classical music members, I guess. The biggest thing that we have to face at a very young age is fighting all of the stereotypes that are placed upon us as instrumentalists. You're black, you don't play clarinet. You're Hispanic, you don't play the flute. Classical music is for white old guys. Mozart, I listen to Tupac. Boyz II Men is so much better than Brahms. Things like that made it really hard for minorities like myself to really appreciate and enjoy the music that I felt very close to. I express myself daily with classical music, whether I'm playing it or listening to it. I'm inspired all the time. But when your friends and family are subtly setting jabs at you because you listen to a genre of music that's white dominated, now you're whitewashed. Now you've lost your black card. Now are you even Mexican? Stuff like that makes it hard. Do I identify with my culture, which is very heavily influenced by rap and hip hop? Or do I enjoy the classical music that has defined who I am as a person and who I personally am majoring in? This is my life. Hurdles like that make it hard for minorities at a young age to pick up an instrument and really appreciate what it's like to be a musician. Other obstacles, like being thrown in a mariachi band just because your last name sounds Hispanic, or being tossed a saxophone because black people only care about jazz music, are other things that kind of influence our want or lack thereof of playing an instrument anymore. We have to fight the bullying and the stereotypes that our friends and family put upon us, and then our teachers and principals that may misjudge us and put us in classes we didn't want to be in. There's also the lack of support at home. It's hard to pull up my clarinet on break and practice when my mom comes in the house and calls it a dying cat and a low-budget oboe. That doesn't make me feel good about what I'm doing with my life and my career. And for other people who go through similar criticisms from their family, just put the instrument away and stop playing. The story for me was the time that me and my sister and my mom were sitting outside while it was raining, and I thought it would be a really nice touch to play some Debussy, some French Impressionism. And I played Nuages, which is about clouds, and it's floaty, and it's nice, and I thought fit the scene perfectly for being able to relax and just enjoy the music and the scenery. My mom, on the other hand, thought that I was ruining the moment and I should go away. Playing classical music, whether it be me practicing or physically playing it through like YouTube, was criticized and ostracized in my house, and I know I'm not the only minority that's gone through things like this. So let's say this young musician has made it past the bullying of their friends who think that they're not black or Mexican enough because they play
an instrument or because they listen to Mozart. They've pushed past the stereotypes of being thrown into a mariachi band when they play the flute. They've pushed past the family judgment of listening to you sound bad at home practicing, or not wanting to listen to your genre of music because it's ruining the moment. And now you're in college, surrounded by people that don't look like you. I am lucky enough to go to a college that has a small music department but still has room for diversity. At Adams State University, we are a Hispanic serving institution with, I think, around above 40% of our student body here being of Hispanic descent. And I'm very proud of that. I think that's really awesome. For such a small school in the middle of the mountains in Colorado, to really be supporting Hispanic anything, athletes, business majors, musicians, but not every school is like that. And not every music department is like that. I am currently one of 2 black people in my music department, and she's going to graduate next year. It's kind of hard being surrounded by people who are like-minded, but don't look like you. Representation does matter. We see it in cartoons and in TV shows all the time. So what about in classical music? What about that little black girl that really wants to grow up and play in a symphony, but sees no one that looks like her, or her mom, or her dad, or her brother? Every black person who enters into the world of classical music feels like a trailblazer, because they're one of very few. That's kind of sad. It doesn't have to be that way. But a lot of the musicians that could have made it into the symphonies got bullied out of it by friends and family and stereotypes. So you make it through school, surrounded by people that don't look like you, probably don't understand a lot of your experiences because of that separation. Now you've landed a job in the classical music world. All of that heritage and history that you tried to ignore as a young person to really enjoy the love of classical music is now demanded of you. Minorities in a time like this are almost forced to bring their exoticism to the classical table. My music has to sound black, or I'm not a black composer. My music has to have some Hispanic influence, or I'm not a Mexican composer. I have to have some African type rhythms or non-Western type instruments in this arrangement because I'm black, because I'm Asian, because I'm Hispanic. It's not really fair to demand exoticism from people that grew up as your neighbors. Black people and Mexican people that are joining the world of classical music in America probably grew up in America. So through jumping hurdles with stereotyping from friends and family, the lack of support from family who continue to bully and belittle your dreams as a classical musician, fighting for a spot in a college surrounded by people that don't look for you, to finally land that job and have exoticism demanded upon you just to justify your existence in the world of classical music, some people just don't want to fight that. Especially in a career path where you have to play it right or you won't make any money. So a career path that can possibly make me a starving artist, and I've already fought through these hurdles and jumped through these hoops just to be justified as the instrumentalist I am, it's too much for a lot of people, and they just quit. They just leave. They go to something that's going to pay better, that's going to respect them more, that they don't have to jump through so many hoops and so many stereotypes to go through. So that's kind of my opinion and my voice on the matter. I think some of the things that can help kind of change this and help increase the statistic is to stop demanding so much of minorities. Stop asking them to do so much. Let them express themselves. Away with all these stupid stereotypes and identifying yourself with what your skin says instead of what your heart says. Just because I'm black doesn't mean I can't like Liszt because he's white. I can enjoy R&B and classical music just the same. But because classical music is a white-dominated genre, I'm whitewashed for liking it. And that is stupid to me. So what are some ways that you guys think that we can fix some of these statistics and raise the support that minorities should have in the world of classical music? And I don't mean support as in babying them and giving them everything, but it does mean treating them like the musicians they are and not the color of their skin or the background of their heritage. That's about it. Thanks for listening, and again, if you have any opinions or any suggestions, leave them in the comment section below. Bye bye.